Welcome back from that break. Glad you are still watching Science Breakfast with me, Alan Habert, and the sign language interpreter is Chebe Watt. In studio, we are with Madam Kathomi Riungu. She is a leadership and governance expert and currently working in collaboration with the Presidential Exploration Team of Okia Omtata. Now, before we went for the break, I had posed a question that I want to put aside just a little bit and ask you this following question. You know, when I don't want to use the word hopeless, but unfortunately that is where some of us are. And when you go to talk to people who have sort of lost all hope in what they are doing and in life generally, then they look at you as a savior. But then from your perspective and from the work that you're doing, you've not necessarily going to deal with the problems or the issues that they are facing at that particular time, but then you still want their full participation to get the information of information of what you want to get. How do you balance these two and say, hey, we are not able to deal with your issues currently, but still give us this information because it can lead us in the right path to deal with your issues long term?
There's that, and of course the Kenyan culture, when they see politicians, and of course they know Senator Okiya Omtata is a sitting senator. Many Kenyans don't even know the difference between a senator and a governor. So
Senators, they do not have any budget.
we umefanya nini, tuambie umefanya nini, utatufanyia nini. There's a lot of that, do this for us. And Senator Omtata is known. He's presented a lot of petitions in the Senate, a lot of petitions. Even right now, even the last media scuffle we had is because he's the one who raised the issue of rice importation. And of course, he was, demand letters were returned to him, you defamed what. But a lot of evil that goes on in this country is the senator who raises it at the floor of Senate. But away from the Senate is the only Kenyan who goes to court for litigation for public benefit. So there's a lot he's done, and of 100% of his cases, he wins 75% of them. And the last case he won was the taxes that the government lost. There was a merger of, I can't remember which bank it was, and the Kenyan government lost around 6 billion. And he won that case the other day, and this money is paid back to the taxman. And in terms of quantifying what he's doing, it is priceless. But sometimes Kenyans want like literal things. I remember like when we went to Kajiado County, a place called Nguruman, the locals, the dispensary had been washed away, by the floods. The member of parliament, nothing. The women rep, nothing. All the expectation was the Senator Okiya Omtata can do something about that dispensary. So, and it is just natural to expect your problem to be, your immediate problem to be sorted immediately. So I cannot fault Kenyans for that. That is the expectation. And of course, the proximity to power. They say, you know, he's in Senate, he can talk to his people, he can talk, you know, something can happen. And a lot of things I would say happen, not connected to campaign, trying to sort immediate problems. Another example I would give you is when we went to Mwea, Kirinyaga County. The farmers have been, the government has taken land from the farmers. There's that government land. But there are portions of their personal land they are not allowed to use, but they have titles because of, you know, those irrigation trenches, mali zinapita-pita. So Omtata goes to court and helps in those immediate problems. Issues of when we went to Garissa, we had issues of medicine disappearing from public hospitals, clinics. He petitions such things in parliament. So there are things we are doing immediately, and there are things that will wait. What we can, we do.
Oh, interesting. Now, the issue of charisma, because also we are running short of time, the issue that some politicians they do not look charismatic enough to be a president. And I saw a netizen saying that if then we are saying that some people aren't charismatic enough, then the bar has been lowered too low. If you've come across that trend across social media, what do you have to say about the charisma of a leader, and not necessarily in relation to Okiya Omtata?
I'm happy with one thing. Kenyans are very well informed.
Yeah.
We are stepping away from the point of looking at charisma to qualify a leader.
Yeah.
Kenyans know what they want. If you listen to Kenyans keenly, they know their problems, they know what they want. Politicians can jump up and down, but Kenyans will clearly tell you, this one we don't want.
Yeah.
They know where we are right now because of that charisma. You know, you're charming, you talked well. But what's your integrity?
Yeah.
The whole chapter 6 of the Constitution talks about integrity. What's your integrity?
Yeah.
And I've seen leaders come forward, and you know, Kenyans are doing very good auditing. What did you do when you're in power?
Yeah.
And that's why I say the Gen Zs and the millennials are going to save this country. We have to step away from Sura, from looks.
Yeah.
We have to get to analyzing what kind of leaders we want, because there's a lot of conmanship that is going on, conning of Kenyans, you know. Integrity stands tall. And you can see small coalitions that are happening right now. Now, and you can see Kenyans wanaulizana. This one, where you've been in public spaces for 20, 30 years. What have you done for your people?
Yeah.
So it is a clear indication that Kenyans know what they want. And I would say we are where we are right now because we've sunk so low. You know, they say when you're way down there, some bulb, some light shines, and you pick yourself out of that situation. Sometimes they say we've sunk this low for Kenyans actually to wake up.
Yeah.
Because right now we know our tribes are not going to be the savior. That charisma you're looking and you know, looks of a leader, and that's not leadership.
The ability to move the crowd.
If it was important, it would have been in the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution. The Constitution talks about integrity.
Yeah.
You know, how much can you even audit your wealth? How much have you stolen from the public? Can you explain where what you have has come from? Kenyans are really concerned about that.
Yeah.
And we are in a generational change. And I'm very sure something is going to happen because Kenyans are not falling into those tricks any longer. You hear comments on maybe social media, but deep when you actually sample real Kenyans talking, they're not concerned.
Yeah.
They just want leaders who can change situations in the country. Yeah.
When we are in a situation that needs saving, we always know what we're supposed to be doing. But now when we get to that point, our minds totally forget where we have come from. What are we supposed to do for the Kenyans, for we Kenyans to remain true in our challenges, not to stay in our challenges, but to remain true and aware of what probably the current administration is taking us through, or what our current representatives are taking us through, so that when we get to the ballot, we are able to make the dire changes that we need to desperately make to have a different tier of leadership, even as we're winding up.
Actually, what I would say is you see that mental hyping happens during campaigns.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype. And you're sort of being swept off your feet.
Yeah.
It's
like a new relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So you're in a bubble.
Yeah.
And this is the gimmick of the politicians.
Yeah.
You know, when they are on those tracks and they throw words like tialala, like babes, you know, like, you know, what they actually have? High cousins.
Yeah.
Education is not working.
Yeah.
SHA is not working. You have no water. That's a reality amidst all these things. Yeah. I think, I know you asked a very hard question, and I'm here thinking, how do Kenyans remain true to their issues without getting carried by the hype?
Yeah.
But you know what I would tell you is that we've suffered so much for these 5 years. We've suffered so badly that the suffering is just glaring at us like this. No one is going to cheat us.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what is going to happen in this election. If Kenyans do not get a formidable presidential candidate, this election is going to have the highest voter apathy. People will not vote. People will not go to vote.
Yeah.
Whereby you will get even less than 50% of people showing up to vote. If they do not get a candidate that is completely viable, not this jump
people that we
the
have already
kawaida
seen.
people. Kenyans want to see that this is the change that we want, and I'm afraid of that.
Yeah.
My concern is if we do not have very strong, viable candidates, we'll have the highest levels of voter apathy. People not show up to vote. The level of desperation, the level of giving up is going to be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But if we have leaders over the hype, people who are really in touch with the issues that Kenyans are going through, we are still going to have the highest turn up. The number of people turning up to vote will be the highest percentages,
So just to sum up what you're saying, if we do not get a candidate that looks more promising to the Kenyan population, we're going to see low turnout in voting.
Very low.
But if we get it, if it's gotten right, then we are going to see the highest turnout.
The highest voter turnout this country has ever experienced.
Yeah.
Because people really want change. And people want to attach that change to an individual who looks like a face of change. Yeah?
Not just a politician.
Not just a politician. You would see, most of the political meetings you see today happening in this country are facilitated. People are paid. Even when people go to the streets, or like barazas, like when you see politicians doing a convoy, anyone you see around there is paid to do it.
Yeah.
Kenyans want to go beyond that. They want to see real change. So we are glaring at two extremes.
Yeah.
We are glaring at two extremes. Lowest voter turnout we've ever faced, or the highest voter turnout, because Kenyans really need the change.
Yeah.
So we are trusting God that we get there, and it's not all lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then go advise Mr. Okiya Omtata to get a proper running mate, because him alone, him as a candidate, and as best of what you've shared, he can be able to solve the lawlessness,
the legal side
of where we find ourselves as a country.
Yeah.
But then he needs a running mate that now will be able to move the needle in terms of probably economics and all of that. But thank you very much for making time to come and speak to us this morning. Probably with how you are close to the senator, probably we could be able to get a conversation with have a conversation with him, and just he's able to share his views, even for those with disabilities, in his manifesto and what he plans to do if he clinches government in 2027.
Yeah.
All right, dear viewer, I hope you have picked a thing or two from our conversation this morning, and you can watch this conversation on our social media platforms if you're just joining us at this moment. I've been your host, Alan Herbert, and the sign language interpreter has been Chebi Watt, and in studio we have been with Madame Kadhomi Riungu. She is a leadership and governance expert working with Okiya Omtata's Presidential Exploration Team or Committee. That's all we've had for you today. Let's